All right, I've had the opportunity to come over here and spend the last couple of days filming some stuff for Lucas Oil Outdoor line, and with Jerry Miculek, and I wound up actually having an opportunity to shoot with him, and it's a very humbling thing to shoot against you. Jerry's a world champion. He's a hell of a good guy too, and what I wanted to do, we made some videos on the Lucas Oil Outdoor line on these different products, and I decided I want to sit down. I wanted to ask him some questions that maybe you'd like to ask him if you had this opportunity. So that's the reason why I wanted to do this with you. First off, I want to ask you, when did you start shooting guns?
Well, of course I had BB guns, you know. South Louisiana, everybody had a BB gun when they was old enough to be.
So you grew up in South Louisiana?
Yep.
Okay, but we're in North Louisiana now.
Right, yeah, I was actually born in Texas.
Okay.
So I was transplanted at an early age of 1 week into Thibodaux, Louisiana, which is the heart of, you know, South Louisiana. That's Cajun country. So I grew up in South Louisiana, and years later I met Kay. She was living right here in Keithville, which is not far from Shreveport. So I moved up here like 25 years ago now. Yep.
But you grew up with a BB gun. You started with a BB gun, huh?
Definitely, yeah. I always had something, slingshots, BB gun, bow and arrow.
How old were you?
Whew. Well, I was old enough to cut grass. I had to save money to buy it.
Okay, well that's good.
I had, grass was like $1.50 a yard. So it was like, I want to say it was a Daisy. Looked like a '94 Winchester.
Yeah, yeah.
And I paid $11.50 for it, if I remember right. So.
And growing up, did you hunted and fished then growing up?
Yeah, well, I was lucky where I was in South Louisiana. The Blind River was right there, and it had all that swamp between Airline and the lake, and a lot of places to go out and have fun, shoot ducks. A lot of duck hunting there. So fishing was good.
Okay, so let me ask you this, fishing compared to hunting. I mean, or let me back up. Okay, you hunt still, right?
Yeah. Yeah, when I get a chance, I do, yeah.
Okay, because you don't get a chance very often, I guess, because you're shooting so much. But fishing, do you fish at all?
I have. I used to enjoy fly rod fishing. You know, we'd go fish, you know, crappie and brim and what have you.
Right.
So fishing is fun when they're biting. I'm not a die-hard fisherman. I like to catch fish.
Okay. So yeah, same here. I like catching, not fishing.
So the hunting part, to me, has always been the love of my life, you know. We used to hunt a lot, but when hunting season was over, the guns go in the rack, and you go like, man, it's too quiet.
Right, right. Okay, so when did you transition over to shooting a handgun?
Well, it was by fortune that I met a guy at the local dump, of all places. It used to be, every town had an open air dump. Not just what it was back in the 60s and 70s. Right. So they had a dump not far from the house, and that's where everybody went shooting, sighting their guns. I met a guy there shooting a custom .45. His name was Ben Ashmore. He was from Arizona. He was a contractor working at some of the industry there along the river. And he was shooting, drawing out of a holster, shooting steel targets. And I just thought that was the most amazing thing. This guy could draw and shoot these targets and relatively fast, and he had a custom pistol, and it was just the intrigue of the whole sport. And he stayed there long enough to introduce that action pistol shooting into that area where I was.
So how old were you at the time?
I was, let's see, probably 21.
Okay, so you've been shooting a handgun basically ever since?
Yes, yep.
Okay, now, do you shoot revolvers? I mean, everybody's watching you shooting so fast. I mean, like it's a machine gun, but do you shoot revolvers?
That was my favorite. I actually won 21 consecutive world championships.
Really?
Shooting a revolver. I have 5 world records with revolvers.
Okay, so do you hunt with any handguns?
I have a little bit. Not exclusively. I'm a rifle guy.
Okay. And what caliber rifle would be your favorite for hunting?
Well, right now I've switched over to a 6.5.
Well, that's a sweet caliber.
I've had 30-aught 6s and stuff, but 6.5 seems to be a little bit of everything. So it's a good medium cartridge. It does what you need to do.
Okay.
Doesn't kick much. Shoot flat.
You know, in the professional shooting world, I mean, you're the top, and you know you're no spring chicken like me.
Right.
You're no spring chicken, and I want to know what it is that separates you, what drives you to be at the top, because I mean these young guys are fast and they're good. They're coming on hard.
There's some really great competitors.
Yeah.
There are guys now who are shooting, and they're 21 years old. They've been competing for 5 and 6 years. You know?
And the equipment is so good.
Right. So you get a lot of fresh talent in. There's actually some money in it now. When I started, we did it for a handshake. You know, I'd drive and shoot for a whole weekend and spend my whole vacation for a handshake. I did good, you didn't. Well, anyway, you have to love it.
Okay, but what is your secret? I mean, how do you keep pushing yourself?
I've always believed that what I'm doing is not good enough. That tomorrow's going to bring a better day and a better idea. So you have to keep evolving. And I try to always go to the range and prove what I'm doing is wrong. I don't want to have a set perception of knowledge. That's a killer. Once you think you know something, the learning curve stops, and you're not current anymore. And this sport changes daily.
Okay.
By the month, people come up with different techniques, different technology, how to trick out a gun. But basically, I have to keep my eyes open, and I'm always willing to evolve to the next level. So in my career of 27 years now, professional, I've changed my shooting stance probably 5 or 6 distinct times.
So you could go back and look at some of the old video of you shooting, and you've changed.
Well, definitely, you had to, because we've gotten faster.
So do you learn from other people?
Definitely. I like to watch guys who've never shot a match before, because they'll come in with ideas that maybe I've never experienced. Maybe it's totally stupid. Maybe it's totally good. So a newbie on the line to me is just fresh meat. I want to look at him as maybe he knows something. Because what happens in anything, you have one guy doing really good. Everybody wants to go and do what this guy's doing.
Yep.
And that locks you into a pattern.
Okay.
And when you shoot international, also, you get fresh techniques that you haven't seen here in the States. So I'm always looking at the other guy, even if he's in a newbie or he's a world champion that's been there many times. I'm always looking at technique, body form, more than I am really equipment.
Okay, so if somebody is interested in getting into competitive pistol shooting, okay, what recommendation would you give them?
What I would do is to check with the local gun clubs in the area, see if there's a competition, and just go there and look and say, hey, what are you doing? Show me what you got. And if you do that, if you approach it with that mindset, you'll get so much help that it'll be staggering. Even at a 3-gun match, whether there's a state level competition or even higher, if you just go with a squad of shooters and just watch them and say, well, why are you using this kind of a rifle, and why are you using this kind of optics? And what that really does for you as a new person, you save a lot of money because you don't have to buy a lot of junk.
Well, and I think it will amaze you too how people will help you.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you ask, I mean, the big thing I think that holds people back from progressing in their life is that they're intimidated. They're scared to ask. They're scared to do it. But it's like, I see you push yourself so hard that you're not afraid to fail.
That's the thing of running after the ball and running with the ball. When you're running with the ball, it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder. It puts a lot of pressure. Your ego can get in there. And that's another crusher that I have to constantly monitor is what I call big head. When you get big head, it's really hard to live with yourself, and then you have to really watch that. So what we do, my wife competes, my daughter competes, and I compete. I can go win a world championship. I got 30 minutes to brag and boast and tell you how good I am. After that, it is over. And if I lose, I've got 30 minutes. I can drag my lip in the sand. I can kick gravel. I can go out and scream at the woods. And after that, it's over. I don't want to hear it. And that's how you stay honest in the sport.
Okay. In other words, be humble.
You have a 30-minute rule.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Okay, so let me ask you this: what do you think about? What advice would you give people about getting their kids involved into shooting or around guns, acclimated to guns? I mean, at what age? I hear people ask me all the time, how old should a kid be before they're around a gun? And I have my answer. What would your answer be?
Well, my daughter was around firearms since she was born. I didn't leave anything loaded out what she could, didn't understand. But once she got to the understanding part, and she would accompany me to the range, and she would see what guns are, and they're going to be naturally interested.
Right.
It's just like any tool. Like you open the drawer in your kitchen, you got knives. You tell your little girl, look, don't reach and grab that knife, it's going to cut you. So when I have a firearm, and if they want to look at it and examine it, I take them in a safe way and an empty gun, and we can handle it. Take the mystery out of it. Shoot them. Let them go shoot at a young age. If they're safe and responsible, there's no reason. There's really not an age limit. It's a responsibility limit.
Okay.
That makes sense?
That does make sense, because it's like, how old does somebody have to be when they stop driving? Well, somebody may be able to not drive very good at 20.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right. Next question for you. We're inundated with the media, with movies that have people, holding guns like this and shooting each other and all that kind of stuff. They glorify this killing with guns and all. And today, we grew up watching Westerns. Watching cowboy movies, as I called them back then. Right, yeah. But it's a different kind of delivery nowadays. It's more graphic, more.
It's totally bad.
It's bad. Tell everybody how you feel about that.
They glorify the act of killing. And the graphic, the blood and the guts, and I've probably, what you have to realize is that you take a 10, 12-year-old that watches movies, that's common on TV, right. They'll see more killing than a combat soldier did in World War II,
right? And
be exposed to it with the same. The only thing he lacks is the smell, because you can't smell death through a TV screen, but you can sure see it and experience it.
And it desensitizes them.
It's bad. You make it entertainment.
Right.
You make it entertainment.
Right.
So.
And it's like soldiers. The soldiers today are different than the soldiers in the past. And we've talked about that. But
right. Yep.
I look at it, and people want to know, because you're such a great shot. They say we ought to get Jerry to go over and go into some of these hot zones, and they want to know, have you ever been in the military? Address that.
I've never been in the military or any law enforcement. I do a lot of military classes, and like I tell these guys, I'm a gamer. I go on range and I game how to outshoot the other guy. What equipment, what technique will get me to the next level. So when I work with them, they also work with firearms every day, but they use it for a different purpose. So when I win and lose on a range, when I lose, I go home and redo my technique. When they go out and they lose, they don't come home. So there's a very much distinction between that. So I'm never portrayed myself as a soldier or a combat veteran. I'm not any of that. I'm a gamer. I use guns to make a living. So very distinct application of the same tool. So I address it that way.
Okay, so if you were to be asked, if you're going to choose one firearm to shoot, okay, I know you're fast. You shoot so many different firearms. If you were to pick one, I want to know what it would be and why.
I would probably say to do everything.
Yep.
Would be a 12-gauge pump gun.
Really?
It would be. You can do anything with it. You can hunt birds. You can shoot slugs. You can shoot buckshot. You can use it for defense. You can use it for survival. You can load your own shell. You can make your own shot if you had to. So when you break it all down into flexibility from start to finish, it's a short-range firearm, but the flexibility of it is so great. The platform, what you can do with it.
Okay.
Kind of makes sense.
Yep. All right. Another question: how many rounds do you think that you shoot a year?
When I was competing really hard in the pistol games, in the revolver game, 60,000 rounds was not hard to do.
A year.
A year. I've shot 1,000 in a day, and not gained any knowledge from it. And that's one. That's one. And I say that laughingly because knowledge comes. I call it moments on the range. I can do the same thing, the same drill, the same thing for weeks on end, and all of a sudden I get a clue, and it's usually a visual clue. And once you understand the visual of it, you can repeat it. You can call that clue back up and make it into a performance. But until you see it and you can catalog it as a useful moment, it means absolutely nothing. Sometimes you have to stay there for weeks and weeks to get that visual clue, months, years to get it. And once you have it, you know what it is and you can come back to it.
Well, I watch you shoot. I watch you shoot, and you make it look so easy. You really do, and it's like that's a sign of a true professional. And I think I don't shoot a handgun much at all. And so to me, you can pick up. I look at you. You look at me, and I know my form is all bad and stuff, but just in a matter of minutes, you took me from being able to being, I'm not very good now, but being horrible, to where I can hit the target pretty much.
Right.
And because you have that eye to be able to look for the form and like a coach?
That's application. You know, people say, well, what's the right and wrong way to hold a gun? I said, to me, it's how you win and lose.
Okay.
There's no right and wrong. You just have to, what a true professional does, and it looks like you said, it makes it look easy. What he does is take out everything that doesn't add to the performance, and he's not going to do it. So he's just doing what it takes to make that performance repeatable on command.
Okay.
That makes sense?
That does make sense.
Because you see guys drawing a gun out of a holster, then they squat. Well, you're gonna squat every time you do that. I mean, one sooner or later you're gonna draw, you're not gonna squat. So you're totally off balance. So why, so we're not gonna start that way. So we're gonna take that little bit of needless effort and muscle memory out of there. And we're gonna just do what it takes to make the performance 100% consistent. And that's the big thing in any sport, or anybody who's in the upper ratings of any sport. They have to take out everything that doesn't add up to the performance, and only do what you need to do. But it takes a lot of time to do that. It's easy said than done.
It does. So what do you aspire to do?
To me, it's every time I go to the range, I want to challenge myself to the next level. And that's one thing good about speed shooting is, like if you had a bullseye game, and I could shoot, say, 100 points, well, I've reached the max. That's the max. A speed shooting game, like my revolver records, if I can shoot 6 rounds in a second, well, I want to shoot 8 in a second. So
Push yourself.
So what's the limit? The limit is fast as I can go. So the speed aspect of shooting is what's intriguing for me, is to how fast can I go? The whole world is built on speed.
Did you ever think you'd be able to go this fast 20 years ago?
Never. You just saw me when I first shot a pistol or a handgun, you'd have said, why are you wasting that ammo? And I have wasted a lot of ammo.
How many rounds do you think you shot in your life?
It's probably 3.5 million.
Really?
I think I figured up one time I was on an airplane going somewhere or the other. And it was a long trip, and I think I figured 23 tons of lead, or 25 tons, or 28 tons. It was something like that. It's in the, counting all the shotgun and rimfire and centerfire. Because when I shot revolver really heavy, I shot a lot of ammo, just to keep the finger in tune.
Okay. Do you ever get tired of it?
I think I do, but I don't. If I'm laying in bed, I'll get up at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking, man, let's go do this, and then.
You're a type A, aren't you?
I don't sit well.
Yeah. You're like me. It's like I don't do well sitting very long.
I make a challenge out of anything, like cutting grass on a place. Get on that brush hog, and if I can cut it in an hour, I want to see if I can cut it next time in 45 minutes. What kind of pattern? I'm going to say 15 minutes, So,
so you're just analytical at every one of the things it seems like you do in your life.
You have to be.
You're analytical.
It's just like wasting money or driving slow or driving fast. It has to have a purpose to it, but you want to make that purpose to a point that you get a benefit out of it.
Okay. I'll ask you this. What about being in good physical condition? Because you are in phenomenal physical condition. And how important is that for your career, for you to continue to grow?
Well, to run against the young guys is really hard. I exercise very little, but I never stop. I think the key for me is to never sit down. So if you come to my house and you see me watching TV, it's probably not me. I'm always doing something, so I always stay mobile. If I'm at a match, I'm picking up casings or something. One of the great boxers of our time, George Foreman, was doing a TV interview when he did his last pro fight. He was so far out of shape. You know how he started to get back in shape? He'd take a hamper full of ping pong balls and drop them in the living room and pick them up. So when I go out to a range and we work in squads and we have this downtime, I'm out there cleaning up the range, helping the ROs run the stages. I think about old Foreman there, he's using that time wisely. So I'm exercising while I'm actually doing something good. So I'm not one to sit in the gym and pump a bunch of iron and then throw it on the side and have a puddle of sweat and I didn't do anything.
So how important is being in good physical shape, especially for the upper part of your body for your shooting?
It's very much so. You gotta have the upper body control, the hand strength, the arm strength. I do specific exercises when I have a specific goal. If I'm gonna do a lot of speed shooting, I'm a tune up or tone up for that. Right now I'm in maintenance mode. so I don't shoot all that much. I'm just trying to keep my splits, like with that pistol we were shooting yesterday. If I can keep my splits around 1300s, 1400s, that's maintenance. If I want to go faster, every time you drop 100 a second off of a shot time, it's a lot of work. I mean, it sounds like nothing, but it is a tremendous amount of work. I had one world record where I shot eight shots out of a revolver in a second. When Smith & Wesson made their new 8-shooter, that 627. So to make that happen took a lot of right kind of exercise and right kind of training to make that happen.
Okay. What about? Tell me what you like to do for a hobby or an interest that doesn't have anything to do with shooting.
I just like working on stuff. I'm a maintenance. I'm basically a maintenance mechanic at heart. You know, if it's working on equipment or working on a property, I always want to feel like I'm doing something useful. Mm-hmm. I like to fish. I like to hunt when I have time. During the shooting season, I have like 21 competitions this year, so it's going to wind down toward the end of the year. I run home a few times to maybe go frogging with my little brother. I enjoy that. You know, the family aspect of being outdoors to me is a big thing. We hunted ducks together so much, and I got some friends back in Thibodaux that I try to hook up with them every once, twice a year, make a hunt, go frog and go fishing, just have a good time. To me, I relate outdoors as having a good time. It doesn't have to be, I don't have to catch a limit of fish. I don't have to kill a limit of ducks. I just want to be around the guys, have fun, relax, kind of shoot the breeze, like the old days when we had hair.
Yeah, I heard that. Well, I want to thank you. Thank you very much for your hospitality and your time. And I look forward to doing some stuff with you down the road. Maybe we can figure out some place to go do some night hog hunting with thermal gear.
That would be fun.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yep.
The only problem is I think you'd probably shoot them all, but I'd still like going and watching.
I'll take you up on it.
Hey, everybody, I'd like to thank you all for watching the video. If you have any questions or comments, make sure and post them down below. And share it with a friend. And while you're at it, if you don't mind, subscribe to our YouTube channel.